Yeah! I love that intro. It gets me so fired up. Oh! What's up, everybody? Story and D Booma's on, and as you can see, I got my little podcasting samurai with my seashell under water to fit the ambiance. We'll go a little bit hardcore, but it's a painfully beautiful production, you know what I mean? So we got a little bit of, softness and a little bit of love and peace and a little bit of lioness going on with Pamela here. So welcome, Pamela Leigh Richards. Go ahead and say hi and let's get started.
Let's get started, man. Yeah, welcome everyone. Thank you for attending. The billions out there, right? I know. Right. Yeah, it's all good. It's all good.
So many fans. Welcome everybody. Everybody's showing up. Got their otters on.
This is so cool.
Yeah. So I'll tell real quickly. Well, we are on September 11th. Ophelia just thanked me for not doing a 9/11 episode because everybody's doing the 9/11 episodes, and I know the Charlie Kirk thing's going on, and we'll see what all is with that. But anyways, we're here to do The Hidden Door, Exposing David Icke by Pamela Leigh Richards. And if you didn't catch the little intro or the little premiere that plays before Rumble videos, YouTube's not set up that way, and then Substack goes live as soon as we, push the live button or whatnot. But it kind of talked about why you wanted to do this now. And part of that was to finally be able to speak. It sounds like you basically were silenced and you were never able to tell your side of the story, and you want to clear your name. I had to mute that. We're all good on all the platforms. And have an opportunity to just say your side of the story, clear your family name. And here we are. And you have a lot of people rooting you on. You have a lot of friends, family, acquaintances that have been following you for a long time that we're really excited for Pamela to finally have this opportunity. Hopefully, I'm not a huge platform or anything like that, but hopefully we'll be able to do this respectfully and appropriately. And, there's some people that have already been messaging me like, oh, don't ruin David Icke for me and stuff like that. And it's like... Calm down. We're going to get into some stuff. In a lot of ways, Pamela, you seem to hold a lot of this. I don't want to compare it to David, but a lot of those same things. The shape-shifting reptilians, the views of the world, love, and all those kinds of things are a very powerful force in this world. And you're kind of on that same bandwagon. However, it doesn't change the fact that a man maybe claims to say those things or believe those things treated you wrong. Is that fair?
Bingo.
And we're going to get into some of that material.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I'll just say that, the abuse wore me down physically and psychologically to the point where I didn't know what to think and almost stopped recognizing myself. And I refused to submit to the traumatizing, belittling language. If I don't get out of here, I'm going to die. I had to replenish my strength within spirituality, soulfully, psychologically, emotionally, and physically. And you want to know the details of that and why? Hang on for the ride.
Right.
That's what I say. I'm unafraid. I'm afraid to come out. Unafraid. I'm out of the closet. I'm out because he went public, and he tried to quash me as if I never existed, literally trying to erase me from life. I mean, we'll get into the details maybe in every episode, but you have to look at it chronologically in the timeline in order to see the context of what happened. And then you parlay that with the next segment, and they go, oh my God, he did that. Well, what I say here will make sense what I say here. And all the evidence is there to prove and back up everything I'm saying.
Right. And I've spoken to you at length, and we've gone into a lot of the various things that you have to share. We'll get into some of that. I've also spoke to one of your old friends that was an attorney at the time that kind of helped you through the divorce proceedings, and I got his take on a lot of things, which was really good. It helped make sense of some things, and then there's just some things about this that, and maybe you know some of my story, Pamela, but I got caught up with a cult leader, and I'm not saying that David is. I'm going to try to be as fair as possible here. At the same time, I see what Pamela is talking about. I see similarities to the way that public figures and people that love the limelight and they make their living off of being center of attention, I see a lot of similarities in the way that they behave. And they often are a little two-faced, if you will, where they project something into the public that they want people to believe that they are. And yet the close ones to them get the wrath, if you will, and get the spankings, as Gene used to freaking say. God told me I needed to give you a spanking. Well, with David Icke, he did some. With it seemed like he did some things that it's just like what I would like to see from what I've experienced with you, because you are a very kind, beautiful person, beautiful soul. You're very like, I had a pinata farm that I wanted to bring in this, and you're like, that's just not my style and stuff, and I respect that. I have a little bit of fun. I get a little ornery. I call myself a little bit of the naughty ninja that I got from Midnight out there. Shout out to Midnight, who loves her some. Well, not that she loves them. But she's all about shape-shifting reptilians and letting everybody know about that. I'm here to tell you right now, for at least this part of it, Pamela is not here to crush the shape-shifting reptilian idea. You have actually had, so we'll have a little bit of fun to get started here, and then let's get into the nitty-gritty. But let's set the stage here a little bit. We're not here to say that everything that David Icke is saying is BS. In fact, Pamela, you have experience with shape-shifting reptilians, do you not?
Yeah, and much more. I'll tell you about the first one. The first, when I was my first journey with David in the very beginning of our relationship, he was writing The Biggest Secret at the time,
Yes.
and we went to Canada on the Canadian tour, and I've got a little squirrel out my window right there. Oh, he's so cute. I'm sorry, I just sidetracked.
Oh, look, a squirrel!
He's looking at me. Oh my God! Hello. He wants to nibble off the hummingbird food, sugar water. Anyway, so on the Canadian tour, we were in Vancouver, and we were at the FBI store where David was. I've got pictures and everything of this as well. They were doing a film of David. There were some really cool young kids, and they were filmmakers, and we were at the it's called the FBI store. They sold gadgets and things, secret stuff, and David was out doing an interview with the owner, and one of the other owners was with me, and we were standing in the back room. This was my first experience of witnessing what I've heard, because David was talking to a lot of people, telling their stories of seeing reptilians, and I'm standing there, and the other co-owner of the store was standing to my right. The other gentleman was to my left, and he was wearing a baseball cap that said Hollywood. And he told us that he had lived in Hollywood for 20 years. And so my little red bells are going off a little bit. I'm just waiting to continue hearing. He's a really sweet guy, but he admitted that he felt something happen in his life, 20 years in Hollywood, whatever. And then all of a sudden, his eyes went totally black with little white tornadoes in the middle. And I mean, it was something, I felt something like, it was almost as if the entity within him was telling me that they were watching, they can see me, and they allowed me to see them. The guy on my right did not see it. I saw it when it happened. It's like, here we are, or it was in this guy's body. But hey all, hey Shannon, hey all, hey Shannon Emerson. I can see this now. I'm learning. So when he did that, it got my attention. So when he did that, it was up. It made me feel something, and I turned, and then when I came back, he had gone back to himself. Now that was the first one.
So did they shift completely into reptilian form, or
No.
just a portion? Like, you see the eyes? Did you see scales? Did you just see like the shape of a reptilian and a human? Like, what was it?
No, it just came through his eyes. That's it. No scales, no shifting, like turning into any lizard. But I know that what I saw was an energy it's like energetic frequencies. That's why I'd love to talk to Sabrina about this. What's going on here? How is it possible to shapeshift? How to come that a form? It's like possession. Like, was he possessed? I think he was possessed versus being a full blood reptilian. He wasn't. The possession was full blood, in my view, the way I can describe it, using that human body. That's it. Right? He admitted, this guy admitted that he knows that he's been, I forgot the terminology he used, but he was sharing with me that, and this gentleman, that he knows that Hollywood is full of it. Okay.
So like it's almost like an energy that came over him after he got to Hollywood.
I would call it a possession. They can come and go into a human body at will.
So it's like an energetic form in that sense.
Yes.
Because I've heard that there, are legit reptilians that also hold human form, and they do this with, like, I don't know if it's psionic abilities or something like that, but they're tricking human minds into seeing something like a human, like an attractive person, when their real form is a reptilian. I don't know what's real and what's not about this, because I got sucked into a guy that, like I said, was more of a cult leader. And I'm not saying everything that he taught was wrong. I just think that guy was a grifter and full of shit and wanted to make a cult. So that's where it gets tough with these guys, because a guy like David Icke has to also, and she was married to him for like 11 years. So this was a long term, like, that's quite a while to be with somebody, and during pivotal times of his experience. And you also went through some of this experience with him. In fact, I got a picture right here. You got to meet Credo Mutwa and all of them. So you were there for a lot of this experience of the David Icke journey, but this was also your journey as well.
Yes, yes. That the Credo Mutwa timeline is a whole chapter in itself. But what you were saying, what up, Booma? I just saw that. I'm sorry. I like this. This is fun. Hang on one second. I'm going to enlarge my screen. What you just said, Dorian, is it is interesting. For what I'm learning is that it's like a kaleidoscope. We live in a kaleidoscopic world. Where you look, there you are. Your reality awaits you. And also sometimes things happen and it's not part of who we are. We experience things. It could be good or it could be negative, right? So the more I'm looking, especially on the internet, there's so much we can see now on the internet. Everyone's on the internet. Everyone can communicate on the internet, even though they're shutting that down. They're going to keep. But to me, it seems the one thing for me where I can rest in my heart and calm. Well, first of all, I can do that because I had my traumatic brain injury. I had the left side of my brain squashed with emergency brain surgery. Yep. And that was in January of 2010 when my divorce with David actually began. But because of this is why I was going to write a book about what happened and explain it. And that's why I called one of the chapters in my book was going to be called The Gift of the Fall, because I was one of the lucky ones. It literally threw me into, I say, some of the books in the library of my mind burned from the neurons communicating with each other, right? Some of the books in the library of my mind burned and I didn't miss anything. I was operating on a different frequency. So I woke up in hospital in what I call Zen. Literally, I was seeing the holographic nature of reality. I could see the space in between the place. I can do it now. It's if I tune in. It's alive. It is alive. They say that we only, our five senses make sense. We're tuned into a certain level of frequency, and light carries information and memory and all that stuff. And so That's why some people you could have two people in the same room, but they see differently.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully for all the people that are the big David Icke fans and like the Reptilians and all that stuff, like you don't want that to be like squashed or anything like that. Not here to squash that. Here maybe just discuss that, but also like we were saying, talk about Pamela's side of the story because it seemed like you guys had like this beautiful romance that was meant to last. And then I'm sure, and I've had relationships. I struggled with alcoholism in my past. So some of my relationships, I had my part to play in that. There's two sides of every story. And you wanted to bring that up because you felt like you never got to share your side of the story. David has kind of squashed it. And like these people that are public figures, they have abilities to leverage certain amounts of power towards somebody, and it's unfortunate. It's the same thing with my situation with Gene Decode. Gene started to make it out as if I wanted him murdered and stuff, which is just absolutely insane. And there are some insane claims in this one when it comes to David, but David here using his own words, respecting the rights of both sides. I'll let you kind of interpreted this before we went live. If you want to go ahead and address this, we're just trying to let you be able to tell your side of the story without him using his stardom, his social media influence, whatever it is, to leverage it against you, I guess.
Yeah, this was an incredible learning journey for sure. Especially, I've gained strength. Belly, everyone refuses to accountable if there's it's easier to pass the buck. Thank you, D Menace 69. What I've gained the strength and the courage to actually come out and call my abuser out, and he just happens to be David Icke. A lot of people who have been abused, part of the abuser, they tell them, shut up, be quiet, stay in the closet, don't want to know. And that's what David did to me. He thought that he could, literally, I think he was trying to kill me. But through everything that happened, again, it has to be chronologically seen. How David and I got together, it's really interesting because a lot of people, they go, oh yeah, you fell in love and no, it wasn't that at all, man. There was some force that brought us together. There was an external force that brought us together, because then we go back to the death of my brother. That's where my whole life really took a turn. And
Right, but you did put out there like certain things that you were looking for at a certain time.
right. So what happened? If we have to know about my brother's murder to bring me up to this point of when that romance ad thing came out. I was the death of the murder of my brother, and on my PowerPoint there's actually a video of that, Joanne, if you want to pull it up. If you don't, that's fine. When that happened, he was 23 and I was 24, and it took 5 years of my life of grief. I don't know why, but for some reason, it just hit me so hard. Where's my brother? Where'd he go? Where's my brother? And I lived 5 years in that grieving process. I was suicidal. I didn't want to live. I did go to seminars. I read books. I read Elizabeth Kubler on death and dying. I said, I feel like this. I feel like that. I don't feel like that. I was a sleeper because I didn't want to wake up. I wanted to shut everything down. I didn't want to be aware of anything. Everyone around me was very concerned, rightfully so, because so one day, 5 years to the month, October 12th, and this is another interesting thing. My brother was murdered on Friday, October 12th. They made a mistake on the gravestone, and it says he was murdered on Friday, October 13th. That's interesting.
Right here, we got it right.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. See, October 13th, 1984. Yeah. Yeah. Do you want to play
Weird.
the video?
Well, so which one's the video?
The next one with the car. The car.
Okay.
Nope, right there. They found him on a Sunday. He was murdered on the Friday. They found him on Sunday because some kids were walking around the car in the neighborhood, and that's when the ball started rolling. My parents got the call, and that's when my life went to hell for 5 years. It's really tough. I remember them when they put him on the stretcher, and he's wearing his white boots. And when they put him on the stretcher, and his arm fell limp to the side, that just killed me. Just killed me. So anyway, that took 5 years of my life, from 1984, October 12th. Funny enough, 5 years to the month, in October of 1989, I was in my apartment. There's also, in between that, I had been dating my first husband, who became my first husband, Randy, father of my daughter, Alexandria Giovanni Buzelli. He's Italian. We were dating for 4 years. He's the one who actually told me about my brother. And I remember we're sharing a home in Scottsdale, Arizona. And I had driven to Metro Mall, which is about half an hour away, 30 minutes away. Anyway, so I'm in the mall, and I hear my name being called out in the mall speakers. Pamela Richards, please come to the skating rink. And I'm thinking, what? And so I'm at one of the anchor stores, like Dillard's, one of the big stores, and they have on the second floor. And I was right on the edge, about ready to come out into the mall. And I heard it, and then I thought, and then it said it again. So I start walking down. I'm going to the skating rink, and I turn and I see Randy. And all it took, he just goes, he held me, and he said something happened. And I first thing I thought it was our cat, E.T. E.T.? No. I said, your mom? No. And all he said was, it's Rob. And that's when I dropped to my knees and I was screaming, no, 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 all the way home. I left my car and we went home together to my parents' house at that time. That's what started it, right? So 5 years to the month, Randy and I got married in between that. In 1984, my brother was murdered. 1987, Randy and I got married because I wanted something happy to happen in our lives. And my daughter was conceived our wedding night. She was born on my birthday, January 3rd, 1989.
Wow.
1988. And then it was just that bit, 1989. I was in my apartment because Randy and I, because I was also at the time very distraught. Even a little girl did not wake me up. Because I remember I was living in hell. I was grieving. I was suicidal. I didn't want to live. Even a little baby didn't wake me up. And I went AWOL again. And so, of course, Randy couldn't deal with it. And I totally understand. Hello, Booma family. So we separated. I got an apartment. We're joint custody with our daughter. And it was all amicable. I was only together for a year with him, and that's fine. We're still friends to this day. And so,
can I just
yes.
Because it'll be important when we get to this point that I do want to get to regarding David and your relationship there. He was connected, Randy, that is your first husband, into Hollywood.
Very much so. One of his clients was Jay-Z.
Is he still connected into Hollywood to this day?
His latest client was LL Cool J.
Wow. But very connected into Hollywood to a degree, like Jay-Z is a huge name.
Yeah, to the entertainment world. I met Jay-Z and Beyonce, and I've got film of that. Well, we'll talk, that's later.
Right, but this will come into the discussion later on.
Oh, yeah. Because there's a connection between Randy in London at the Lanesborough Hotel. I was living on the Isle of Wight with David, and the Biggest Secret book, and I won't go into the details of that. If I can
Well,
finish.
then what happened in Vegas and all that stuff? Like
Oh yeah, yeah.
I wanna eventually get to how that connects into Vegas. So I don't want to give
And
away
mine
too
can
much
go.
right now,
Thank you.
but go ahead and continue. I'm sorry.
That's all right, Joanne. Thank you so much for the guidance. Yeah, so just to finish with that little point before we get to the romance ad, it was October of 1989, 5 years to the month that I dropped to my knees. I was praying to God. This is how quick it happened. I dropped to my knees and I said, please God, stop my heart. As soon as I said that, it was an energy. The only way I can describe it, it was like an energy, bam, something slapped me up the backside of my head, and the dark world I lived in slammed shut, and Pamela came back. I was happy for the first time in 5 years. And I set goals and attained every single one of them. So this is where this comes into play. I was celibate. My life was work and my daughter. My friend said, Pamela, they're going to have romance ads. During that time, they had romance ads going. And I went to the pub thingy, and this is what I wrote. This is the actual typed writing that I did. And
That's crazy that you were interested at this time, like putting out there an Aussie, a New Zealander, or a Brit or someone that's British. Like
I
that's
know.
wild,
Yeah, I was very specific, and I told my friend, I
right?
said, if I can't have this, I'm fine celibate. I don't want anyone in my life. And so, yeah, I was fine. And I remember now that I think back on this time, I did have some responses, some people. I actually had anyway, and nothing ever came of it, of course. But then 1 year later, now we go into. I was working for Daytona Plastics. I was an accounts manager. I had a network marketing company, and I wanted to go into my own business. And so that's what took me offshore. And that was 1997. August of 1997, my accounting position, they let me go, and which threw me into my network marketing business. And then I went into a direct marketing business, which was that took me offshore. And I was doing really well. And so it was
Was this Bermuda?
August of 1997 was Jamaica.
Jamaica.
Yeah, that's
How
where
was Jamaica?
Jamaica.
Is Aruba? Because I'm really ignorant because I haven't been able to travel these parts of the world. Where is Aruba in comparison to Jamaica and all these things?
Aruba is it's south of the borderline of America, but Aruba is like near on the northern of South America. There's
Okay.
the Bahamas and Aruba and Cancun, and in that whole area there, south of Florida, way south of Florida.
Okay.
That's where Jamaica, the island of Jamaica, is right near Cuba. Yeah, around that area.
Okay. Sorry. Go ahead. I'm just trying to get in my own mind because we've got Aruba, we've got Bermuda. Now you got Jamaica in this conversation. So this was right around the time where you started to meet David, and he was going to speaking events, right?
Yeah, he was a speaker at my event, the conference that I was attending with my business. David was a speaker. And long story short, it was about 500 people, and you could have heard a pin drop. Everyone was just like glued. So was I. I was Christian at this time because when my brother was murdered, there's a whole nother story. I went and I kind of fell into the Jehovah's Witnesses. My father flew me to San Francisco to be with my Aunt Marion, who was actually, she left the Jehovah's Witnesses because she found it to be a cult. And but she was one of Harper's Bazaar's first models. She was also married to Betty Davis's third husband. So I have a
Oh wow.
connection to Hollywood there as well. She was my soulmate. Anyway, so that's how I was Christian. So I was living my life. I used to go to night praying to Jesus, had my little daughter and I would praying to Jesus. And then I went offshore and but I never became a witness, right? I would go to the Kingdom Hall. And so I went to Jamaica, met David. He was showing on the screen the Trilateral Commission and how the dots are being connected and all that stuff, Council on Foreign Relations, and I had no clue about this stuff. But what I was watching, I go, that makes a lot of sense. Anyway, I bought the 2 books that he was selling, which were I Am Me, I Am Free, and The Truth Shall Set You Free. And I have them signed. And I remember walking away from that table after I bought the books in Jamaica. I remember there was like a tickling energy thing going on in a way, very subtle. I remember walking away from the table and I looked back, like him. It's like, is there something about him? I don't know. And I went, nah, because I was focused upon my work and my daughter. And then my business took me offshore to Aruba 3 months later. And in between Jamaica and Aruba, in August and November of 1997, David had seen a psychic when he went back to England. His name is Derek Okora, no longer with us, very famous psychic. David actually sent me the cassette tape of that reading that Derek did to him. On it, there you go. He says, you're going to meet a lady. I could hear his voice. You're going to meet a lady. And I can hear David going, yeah, where? You met her before. You've met her before, but you've not been intimate. And you're going to be asked out on the night of the day to dinner. You're going to be wearing a mauve gown. She's got light hair, but it's not always been hers. And he said, I hope she doesn't mind me saying that. I'm going, of course not. Bleach my hair. She's very slender. It's as if you're joined at the hip. She's rich, but what is rich? She knows everyone. She's not here in America. This could be the one, David. This could be the one. So that's what David experienced between Jamaica and Aruba. So I go to Aruba, Aruba, yeah, and for my conference where David was speaking again. Now, David's writing The Biggest Secret. We're all out at the pool area on the Friday night, first arrival. David arrived. He's up in his room. He said he came down. I said, I'll just go down, make my appearance, and then go back up to the room and continue writing. I think those are the actual steps in the area that we were at. And as he was coming down, I just happened to be coming up, and he stopped. And he told me later the reason why he stopped. He stopped to say hello. I stopped to say hello. The reason why he did was because I reminded him of what Derek said. You're going to meet a lady. He said, "Oh my God, could this be the one?" That's why he stopped. Wow. Then we go back to the pool. The rest is history. It was buzzwords around Aruba at that conference. It's like, oh, they're going to get married.
Love is in the air.
Yeah, but it was so magnetic. And then I'll tell you this as well. This is when this all started happening. That's when David and I got together. I was not looking. We just started. It was like an outside force that was making it happen, right? We went up to his room, and I'll be very honest about this. You guys ready? I'm pretty literal. I can be very honest. I love honesty. So we go to his room, right? We walk up to his room. When he opened the door to his room, I swear, it felt like the energy around it was thick, like plasma. I felt like I was flying. And that's when David showed me psychic kinetic energy. And I lied on the bed, and he was showing, that's those 2 photos. So I lied on the bed, and he was doing that. These 2 pictures David had professionally taken prior to coming to Aruba. He signed those to me, gave them to me that night in the room. And I mean, that's when we got together, and I went, yeah. So they say you're not supposed to mingle with the speakers, and I'm thinking, don't tell anybody. So we got together, and we were just like, But I was thinking when the day we were departing, we were so connected. I remember looking at him at the desk checking out, and I'm thinking, oh my God, what am I going to do? I have a daughter I love. He lives in England. I live in Arizona. Anyway, that was in November. December of 97, David sent me a letter, because we had gotten together, but he had sent me letter. I wish I had it. Somehow it got lost. One page typed on an old typewriter. And he says, I'm going to be coming to America. And the first thing was, the sun in the sky is not what you think it is. Right. So he was researching and telling me about this stuff. And I'm going, blah, 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 blah. And then he came to America again. And that's when the travel started to begin. I actually left my business and I started traveling with David. We became an item, inseparable. And that was December of 97, and 98 was when it started happening, just the tours and traveling in Canada and all of that in between. It was the other thing
And
was
that was when Bermuda or something.
Bermuda was in 99. It was 1999. I think it was 1999 or 8. We went to Bermuda.
I think I got a picture here of you in Bermuda with him. There it is.
Bermuda.
Where you guys were together, and it looked like you were quite the item.
And that's actually when I had my first experience with a dolphin. Anyway, there's another picture. I don't know if you've got it in the PowerPoint, but David actually took that or maybe the pros did. Bermuda was, it was 1990.
What kind of an experience with the dolphin? You mean like communicating with the dolphin, or?
Well, no, this time was in Bermuda. It was off just right there, just right off there. They had from the ocean, they had this little thing, and I was in there. I don't know. Is there a picture of it? I'm actually kissing the dolphin. They took it was just me and the dolphin and the trainer guy.
I can look for it, but I don't know about that one.
Pamela kissing dolphin. It's
Let me see. But keep telling us. I'll search.
Okay, so
I got it. Hold on. Well, I mean, you can talk. I'm gonna bring it up.
Okay. So that happened in Bermuda, and as we were journeying on, that all happened. Yeah. So that was 99. Okay. So after basically the travels began, I was sent home a lot. When I had a first incoherent moment with David, it hurt me deeply. I'm going, oh my God, because I thought, this is the one. I want to live the rest of my life with you. And vice versa. We were just so connected. And when we had our first little, incoherent moment, it was crushing to my heart. I thought, oh, no, come on, man. I've been living alone and it's fine. And now I meet this guy and it's good. We're connected. And then we have a little problem. That really broke my heart. And it was endless and relentless. It was like, I love you, I hate you. I love you, I hate you. And that's what it was like on the tours. He would send me home. There was one moment, I'll give you an example, guys. We were in Kamloops, I think it was.
This is before you actually got married?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
This was in 99, the tours and everything. And like, as an example, in a hotel, and all of a sudden, and there are witnesses, if you're out there, I wish you would come forward, because we were in the hotel and David again was yelling at me in the foyer. People were hearing it. I mean, really yelling. And I don't know why. I don't know why. What? Because I wasn't yelling back, because I'm not a yeller. But I want you to leave. Blah, blah, blah. I was in tears. I was crying. Well, okay, I gotta go. And because I was working with Bridge of Love, his publication company, and his first wife, Linda, we were communicating with each other. I was helping David to schedule and all that. I started davidicke.com, by the way. It was in Bermuda that we were walking on the sidewalk, and that time, that was when the internet was becoming really big. And I said, David, you should start your own website, davidicke.com. Anyway, that's how I learned to code. Because I started his website, I was working with another webmaster, and I learned to code. I love coding. And I would set up his schedules, and I would make sure that everything was up on the, and while we're traveling, I did that. So I was working. and unpaid, by the way, but that's okay. And so he in this hotel when he did that and yelling at me, this was really interesting. So I knew I had to go home. Okay, so I had to arrange for a flight out. Hi all. Hi. I like seeing those. That's cute. Nice to know we're not alone.
Right.
And but if you can imagine, this is how weird it gets. It's like, I mean, I was brokenhearted. I went up to one of the ladies that was there, her room, and I'm crushed. And I'm just hoping and praying that David would just come and be kind and say, I want you back. I didn't. No, what happened was there was another girl, which is interesting, who came into the room. There is two double beds, two queen beds. She comes into the room. I'm on the other far to the wall over here, and this girl's consoling with me. She comes in. She was a little wacky. I think she could have been mind controlled or something, because she was telling everyone that I was reptilian. She's reptilian. Oh, I've got so many stories. Anyway, so then David comes in, and they had to literally hold this woman down. She got out and she was crawling in the hallway. I mean, weird. Humans can be under mind control, or bless her soul. I don't know what she went through to cause her to be like that, but yeah. But David came in, and of course my heart's going, yes, David's come here. Okay, but it was still, I'm leaving, and so I left, and then he pays to have me come back. See, he would send me away, and I used to say, David, why do you keep sending me away and paying money, and then you send me back? It's just weird. That was
Yeah, you've told me multiple instances like this. Was this before you had an experience with reptilians, where you had this woman all of a sudden coming in and saying you're a reptilian or you have reptilian energy? Was this before you had your experiences?
Yeah, I think so.
So
Yes. Yeah.
so that must have been kind of wild. But you've told me that there was like multiple occasions where you guys are out and it's seemingly enjoying yourself, and then all of a sudden, like, someone else would come and tell you, David said it's time for you to go home, and then he would fly you away, and then his heart would change or his mind would change, and he'd beg for you to come back.
Thank you, Dorian, for making that point. In Vancouver, another time, we went to Vancouver. Now, David listens to other people a lot. And when we were there, David went to go see some healers because he was having some physical ailments. And so I was walking the streets of Vancouver, and our driver comes to me, and which was surprising to me because I was out, and he goes, Pamela, David wants you to go. And I went, oh. Anyway, we go back. The car's parked in front of the hotel. I was heading into the hotel to go pack my bags, and he goes, no, David's already done that for you. He threw all my clothes out of the closet, threw them in the suitcase, and put them in the car. Now, what happened, the reason why he wanted me gone again was because when he went to these healers, the healers told him that a dark energy was coming through me to him, causing his heart problems. He bought $100 worth of whatever, and that's why he wanted me to go. So I'm in, I'm out. David, please don't listen to them. It's like, what? Anyway, that's what happened. That was oh my God.
So this is I've had these experiences, like, with my cult experience, I'll say, like, where Gene would, like, go on what he'd call a sabbatical, and, like, he'd come back and he'd have, like, this radical thing that God told him while he was gone or something like that. But when you've been telling me these stories of multiple instances like this and the way that David acts, it's just kind of, it's wild to me. And maybe he's matured and he's changed a little bit. I don't freaking know. But it's a guy that has so much presence and so much, whether he wants it or not, power over other people's thoughts and minds and decisions. He seems so flimsy and whimsical and flaky with the way that he'll allow somebody else, like just a random person, to give him information, and then he makes a direct decision that alters his life because of it. It's like, it doesn't make sense to me, because you either love this person, or you make another decision. But it was like, come and go, like you are like this lady thinks that you have reptilian energy. Oh my gosh! It's like, do you not think for yourself? You're a person that has such influence over people, and like you don't seem to have control or your own decision making for yourself. You let other things tell you what your life is going to be, and then you turn around and command other people's, thousands of people's, direction of their lives. It's crazy to me to hear this.
I know. Well, see, we have to clarify this as well. David thought when he first met me, um, he thought that I was like an MK Ultra, that, because I was born on a military base. I was blonde-haired, blue-eyed, classic MOs for MK Ultra. So I had a question mark over my head the whole time I was with David. I didn't know about mind control. I learned it through him. And so I'm going, oh, no, am I? Am I not? I don't know. And so we went to a conference in Arizona. And at that conference, Bryce Taylor was there. That's where I met her for the first time. And these were in the 90s, 1999, I think, in that era, 98, 99. And yeah, there's Sue Ford. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've covered earlier on my channel, and we blocked out one of the other people that doesn't need to be shown. But you got there on the right, the gentleman on the left in the right picture is Ted Gunderson, and in both pictures, the other lady is Sue Ford, who went by Bryce Taylor as a pen name for her book, Thanks for the Memories, the something of a mind control slave. So, like Bob Hope was her handler. It's like one of the craziest stories ever. She claims to have even slept with President Kennedy. She said that he was a gentleman, like didn't mistreat her like many of them, but she was a presidential model. Now you have a similar account by Kathy O'Brien, and you also met Kathy O'Brien around this time, right? With Mark Phillips, who is said to have saved her.
Yes. And at that event where I first met Sue, it was when I had gone to the bathroom. When I came back, David said what she had told him, and she told him, Pamela is much higher than I am. And I'm thinking, what? Well, I don't remember then, because so anyway, so I'm operating on this. It's almost as if I think David was excited that he has on his arm a possible MK Ultra person, but he wasn't a Mark Phillips to a Kathy O'Brien, because he didn't help me. He actually hurt me. And it goes deeper. But, and that picture, just so that the audience knows, we can get into the timeline towards that. But it was December of 1999 where David put me in Sue's home for me to be deprogrammed.
Right. But you would know, but this is kind of the crazy thing, because when you talk to me about this, many years have passed since 1999, you have no recollection of this. There's been no therapy that's brought back any memories. There's no reason for you to think that you were a part of anything like this, correct?
Correct.
And now I see in the understanding of, like, David thinking, brought up in a military base, having married a guy connected to Hollywood. I can see some of the things of the reasons why he might think that, but to just I don't know, like on a like a whim or something, or to think that maybe like this, because this was like kind of like huge at the time. I think like Kathy O'Brien coming out, these presidential models, the idea of MK Ultra was big. Satanic Panic was around this time. You had all this stuff that was coming out around this period of time, and I've covered this stuff on my channel. David Icke being in the conspiracy space, he maybe in some ways might have even wanted you to be one of these because it made for a good story. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not claiming to know or be inside David's head, but when I would been around some of these guys like gene decodes and stuff like that, that's the way that they think. They think that it's like there's always a temptation to sensationalize and to have the next story, have the next book, have the next, whatever it is that's going to captivate your audience so that you have income coming in and that you can continue to be a popular figure in the media. It's unfortunate because that's the game they play. My things with David has always been because he's been always one of these guys where it's like, man, I agree with a lot of things. I joined Iconic, which is like, I think it's like Ike, Ike, like their last name, Iconic, for like a year. I really like his sons. I like some of the things that he has to say, yet I also worry that some of the stuff that he pushes is a little occult-like. I've wondered if he's in the club. Somebody was talking about how he claimed to be God. I think that somebody told him that he was like the son of God or like whatever, and I don't think he ever really agreed that he was that. Did he claim to be the son of God at one point?
No, no.
Somebody made like a prophecy or something they told him, and he made it clear that he never really accepted that, but it almost seemed like they were trying to almost say that he could be the next big thing.
That
So there's that. But so I'm in defense of David. I don't think he ever actually claimed that. It was something that was put out there, and I think that he refuted that even in one of his books that I read. Here's my thing though, like I'm saying, there's things that are occult, and then there's the idea that if this guy was so right on, I mean, it seems like he had the Council of Foreign Relations. He's exposing all this stuff way earlier than most people. How are you still alive? And somebody asked him that in an interview, and he says that he doesn't even think about it. He doesn't imagine it and allow it to come into his existence, as if he has some like supernatural ability to thwart the enemy and dodge bullets from ever even being fired at him because of his superpowers of not allowing that to come into his world. And I'm like sitting here thinking like, there's like a whole list of Clinton body bags that would differ that works. So what the fuck is really going on with David Icke if he's exposing the truth since like the 80s or whatever it is? Like, how is he still alive? Gary Webb. Let's bring up some other whistleblower names. They didn't have this superpower that David Icke has? I've always wondered whether or not he's in the club, part of one of the Freemasonry clubs, whatever, lodges, something. Like, what keeps him alive?
Yeah.
I don't know. He's always been a question mark. Yet, I agree with a lot of things. Now, I don't see a lot of the synergists here, but one of the other complaints that I've heard on David, and that one of the things that we expose as far as the biodigital convergence is that he doesn't seem to be warning people about the technology that's in place that is under our skin, and it will become the potential surveillance state in the world. And if he's going to fight against that, then he's also another gatekeeper in a lot of ways. But I've always wondered, how is the guy that exposed the shape-shifting reptilians? I don't know if they're real. Pamela seems to have some experiences with them, so that would be her experience that I don't refute. I haven't seen them. I don't really know if they're real or not. It's not saying they are or not. I'm just saying, how can a guy like David Icke be around still if he's actually telling the truth? Because it seems that from what I've experienced as I've exposed truthers and people that have blown up or been big names, Alex Joneses, David Wilcox, and some of these other guys that have been around for a while, they all tend to be handled. Controlled opposition. You're only allowed to have influence if you play the game they want you to play, because if you really ever did turn around and start telling the truth, 100%, you're fucking dead. Seems to be strange that David Icke is still around. He might be banned in a bunch of countries, but he's older now. He's traveled, and he doesn't need to be freaking traveling. There's deals that could be made. He might know some of this stuff because he's connected into whatever the freaking system is. He knows things and releases them just like anyone would, like a Wano Savin or one of these other creeps. I'm not saying David's a creep. I don't know what to think of David, But some of the creepy stuff that he's done to you, now I'm starting to be like, yeah, he sounds like one of these egomaniac, narcissistic, social media fucking gurus. But he doesn't even make his own decisions, it seems. It seems like he could have a massage therapist say, oh, this is what you're going to do in your life. And he'd be like, bing, and then go on and just fucking do it. Like, and then you go and act like you have the answer for the world, but you don't make your own decisions. It's fucking strange, man.
It's hypocritical. At this point, if you don't mind, Dorian, it's really interesting. As far as the reptilians, I'll share this one story as well. I think, no, the reptilian in Vancouver. I saw the one guy in the FBI store. The other that I experienced, now get this. I'm walking on the sidewalk on Robson Street in Vancouver alone. And they're really wide sidewalks and the shops are on this side. And I'm walking by myself. People are, and you know when you're looking down and you can tell when someone's looking at you, like really looking at you. You have that feeling? That's what I had. Right. I'm walking down the sidewalk and my head was down. I look up and up to my left, a gentleman was standing on the side of the road right there on the side. And his body, it's like The Exorcist. His body was facing the road, but his head turned. It was it was weird. His head turned almost uncomfortably to the left than his body. And anyway, his eyes were jet black from that, even from this distance. It wasn't too far, but and he opened his mouth and out came this is what's so funny. I call it a fat forked tongue. It was like, but it was fat, it wasn't thin and long. It was fat and short. It only came out this far. And I'm getting confirmation that I know this is true. Anyway, so that happened. Oh my God, chills. I went my head down, I walked by him. Now, curiosity, I wanted to look and I turned peripherally. I could see that he was still looking at me. So I went back. So that was that. If you go on my PowerPoint, and you pull up two things. What you were talking about, David thinking that I was an MK Ultra person. David used to tell me he thought that I had a lot of information in my head that was going to come out like a CD. When I was in Las Vegas with Sue Ford for a month, and by the way, Ted Gunderson was the head of the FBI, LA FBI, just to add to that. And the only reason why Ted was there was because he was protecting Sue. I remember when I arrived and right. I met, I go, what you packing a gun for? And he goes, for protection. I go, oh, okay. So in my PowerPoint that I sent you, I have pictures that I was drawing, like a big notepad.
I found it, yeah.
Those are those. What you do when you're deprogramming is you draw a lot. She was also using light technology on me. She had these things on, so I was looking at lights in my eyes. But in one of those pictures, there's one that says about a CD coming out. Can you read that? Does that say CD? David thought I was going to have a CD come out of my head. Is that the one where it says, no, there's another one. Keep going. It's a picture of my head. Picture of my head. There it is. I think.
A zip drive.
Yeah. That I only wrote that because David told me. He thought I was going to have a zip drive. Yeah. Yeah, I forgot.
Okay, here we go. So, Dream. So this is 12/24/1999. This is where you're trying to you're entertaining the idea. Okay, maybe it's possible because a lot of these people like Sue Ford, Kathy O'Brien, they didn't remember everything that happened to them. So you're thinking maybe I just don't remember. In a way, you're entertaining what David is putting you through by claiming this about you that you're mind controlled because you came from an army base and all this stuff. Anyways, in this. What you're doing here, you're saying, dream where I met David spiritually. He told me the message below, what it meant was that I have so much information in my head that I will need a large disk to record it all on. I had another dream that came after this, but it very quickly disappeared. Like it was there before my eyes and I saw it, but just as quickly it was gone.
These are all my writings from that time. Now, the other thing that I would like you to show is go on the PowerPoint, and there's a video. This is funny. And if you can play the video from Pasadena, I think it's the video of, if you can go to that, I can scroll down. It's a video.
Do you know which number it is by? Is it near those drawings?
Probably further down, because that was the event in Pasadena. He was the opening act for the show, and this person captured it. I got permission. They sent me a copy of it. I know the guy playing the guitar there. He's backstage playing the guitar, warming up to go on stage, and his friend filmed it. And then when he panned up to the speaker, because David was on stage, and when he panned up to the speaker, you could hear David say this. And when you play it, it's
On the one that has the let me see if I can find it on here.
it looks kind of dark.
Okay, hold here. Is it California Backstage, Scott Huckabee?
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Scott Huckabee, yeah. He's a dear friend as well.
Here we go. All right, so you want to play this?
Yeah. Volume? Sound? During the sound.
Oh, there's no there's no sound on this. Unfortunately for StreamYard, it doesn't allow you to play sound. You're just gonna have to talk us through this.
Okay, so when he pans up, you can hear David on stage saying, do I need a bodyguard? Well, I've got Pam. That's what David's. It was classic. It was brilliant. This guy's a wonderful guitar player as well. Very interesting. Yeah, and right there he's going, do you have a bodyguard? Well, I've got Pam. That's what David's saying on the speaker.
Gotcha. Yeah, when I share screen on anything that's not in a browser, the StreamYard won't play the audio for it.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
So for anything that you need audio playing, like when it was showing like that scene of your brother when he passed, there was no audio probably playing for you or the audience. It has to be in the browser, but that's kind of wild.
Okay. Okay.
It's like he loved you, but like yet he would just throw you away like easily.
It all the time, like May 1st in Salt Lake City. May 1st, Salt Lake City in 19, it was also around that time. 19, I forgot what year that was, 1999, 2000 maybe. Pardon me. And we were in Salt Lake. He was actually going to speak on May 1st. And we arrived. I walked into our room, a hotel room, and he was at the far end on the computer. Now, see, I'm learning too. I have to take responsibility too, because I just didn't understand. I asked him a question, but he got pissed off. He was busy, right? He was busy. And I understand that. If you're focused on something, you don't want to, but you don't have to be angry about it. Just like, hold on a minute, okay. Or I should know, don't do that when he's full on. But sometimes I asked him a question and he got upset. And I said, well, I just need to know this one little thing. Can you just tell me? It was a real quick answer in my view, but not for him. He got really pissed off. Anyway, I got another room. He said he wanted me out. Yeah, exactly. Thank you for that, Sylvia. Yeah, my brain bashed and it was abused. Yeah, he abused me while I was healing. It's like I'm trying to, that's a whole nother story. So I got another room and he wanted me to leave. And at that time also Royal Adams comes into play. He was there with his wife, and Royal Adams is a whole nother story. Oh my God. which is why I'm coming out really, but because he went public. So I got another room. Next day was May 1st. David's speaking. I was crying all day watching movies, just in absolute agony, flew out. But see, that's another, it didn't take much to just get her out of here. But he loved me. And then he would call me back. So
That's what I see a lot of I don't know if you'd call it bipolar love or what it was, but it was like it's
sociopath
that
possibly.
Jekyll. Yeah, it's Jekyll and Hyde. It's a Jekyll and Hyde kind of thing, and you see that a lot with these characters, especially
Yeah.
when they're public figures for whatever reason. It seems to be the way that they operate. You brought up atoms. Does that connect into the Regina uh, blog post or the thing that was
Yes.
put out against you?
Yes.
Gosh,
Yes.
I want to.
And
Okay, I'm gonna try to find that, and then I want to bring up before we move too far away because the Sue Ford kind of stuff came up. Okay, I found it, so I'll have that when we get to this Adams thing. I want to get into the Regina thing, and talk about that because of the way that they smeared you when they finally did smear you. But what I want people to understand is that like some of the stuff he put you through, not only like he loved you and then he made you go, he would pay for you to have to fly home or fly away to somewhere else and then bring you back. So there's that. But then he put you through something where he made you consider that you might be a mind controlled slave, which is traumatic. And one of my other beefs, just before we move on from that, is that I think, and this is just my opinion from my assessment, I believe, and this will be controversial for some, that Kathy O'Brien is still under mind control. Now, whether it happened after Mark Phillips passed away or what, I don't know. But the fact that she is surrounded by people like Sasha Stone, Roseanne Barr, a lot of the Flynn Network, Mel K, and she's pushing Trump and the white hat kind of a messaging. Nothing's been done to get justice for anything that she released many decades ago, and yet she's still all in line with this kind of rhetoric. Makes me think that she is being handled by them, and transformation is on Iconic. David is friends with Kathy O'Brien. So I would just also say, regardless of everything else here, David, if you actually see this, maybe you should consider reaching out to your friend Kathy O'Brien and finding out if she's still under mind control and you can help her because that kind of stuff is the kind of stuff that I have a problem with you with. Those things seemed obvious to me. Why do you allow your friend to be hoodwinked by people that are scumbags like Sasha Stone, Scott McKay, the Patriot Street Fighter, and all of these fake, grifting, lying people we have in alternative media pushing the Trump train that is now derailing and demoralizing a lot of what's going on there. So I wanted to say that just because what he put you through by taking you in there and putting you in with them and trying to deprogram you is a form of abuse.
oh, it gets better. Oh, just wait till the punch comes in.
Right.
We're not going to get there today, but yeah, yeah. The maths don't fit. Hypocrisy abounds.
We have a lot of areas we could go to. I don't want to jump around too much. I mean, we can get to the part where you guys start the separation. I don't know if what you want to punch with today. Like I said, like we're gonna bring some stuff because I don't want people to accuse any of this of just being gossip or a bad relationship gone wrong where one person's just upset. No, like there are some legit things here that need to be examined, and especially with a guy that has the kind of public profile that David Icke has, we should at least be able to question him and ask him like, why did you do this? Or like I think I said at the beginning, I would love to see amends being made or forgiveness being part of this, whatever comes of this series that we do. We're not just here to destroy David Icke, and we're not going to ever be able to do that. He's going to have his following always. It's just like a lot of these people that have these followings are going to love him no matter what. Some of it's idolization, but some of it's respect and appreciation. There's two sides to every story, but now Pamela's gets told, and the full story can come to light. Healing can be done, and can people be mature enough to admit where they were wrong and come and make amends and then move forward? Because that's what you've told me. Like Pamela has said, the only way that the world is going to heal is that if we work through these traumas, and we all have them. We all have baggage. We all have our own responsibilities that we have to take responsibility for. The things that we've done that weren't maybe so good, take responsibility for those, but come together, release these, and move forward better for it. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, absolutely. Again, this is the thing. It's everyone is going to have. You're not going to please everyone, but for me, I have learned I'm going to speak my truth because I was a people pleaser growing up. I was shy. And then my whole learning experience, I woke up with David Icke as far as the five sense world and reality we live in and the holographic nature of reality. All of it made sense. When I hear things that contradict and challenge the very existence of what we were taught to believe, I usually go that way. I go, oh, that makes a lot of sense. And I throw everything else out the window. I go, because I leave it. I go, that you've got to climb the ladder of information and let the shit show go, because they're keeping us in this, everyone's, bantering about stuff. And they are laughing at humanity, how stupid we are, how we fight amongst each other. They create things and all that stuff. But there was something I was going to share with you about Kathy O'Brien was along that line, keeping that into context. It's not here to bash David. I'm here to be unafraid, be courageous enough to challenge you can't talk about that. I'm going, why not? We have to break these paradigms. And David's new lady, Christiane, she's head of the production part of Iconic or whatever. Anyway, I saw before she blocked me from her Instagram, because I was testing. In the beginning, I couldn't look at Eichland. I couldn't go there. But I gave it time because I wanted to see what was going on. And eventually I gained the courage and the strength to go out, and I would go to their sites and I would start posting positive things like, oh, that's great. And what I did was I said in my comments, I would always say, and David was my former husband, because David wanted to silence me as if I never existed. A lot of people go, I didn't know you had a wife, David, another wife. Well, now they are going to know, because I am not going to go quietly. And so I was doing it. I was just saying, hey. And so what I really was doing was seeing how they would respond. And as soon as I started getting some traction, they blocked me from Instagram. David didn't block me, but everyone else did. Instagram, Facebook, X, not X. I'm blocked on X, but I can still see the postings. It's like, what are you afraid of, David, and the family? What are you afraid of? That I might tell the truth? It's like, well, it's going to come out. It's going to come out anyway. So I just couldn't understand it. So I was feeling my way through over that time. And now I have learned this is why I'm doing it. Because you know what? What's the worst that could happen? I could die. Bring it on. So I'm not afraid.
I had this question too. Someone, a reptilian shapeshifter. Is David a reptilian shapeshifter?
No.
Because there has been that conspiracy put out there that he is one.
No. I wouldn't have been with him if he was. No. And I would tell you if I found anything weird or wacky. He has not even seen a reptilian during my relationship with him. I've seen it. He's not seen them. That I know of, at least when I was with him. but it was, no, he's not a Freemason. I don't think he's not. But I just wonder if he's, because a narcissist, the description of a narcissist, when I left and all this stuff was happening, and after my brain, and I was coming out and I was dealing with the divorce at the same time, January 2010, I had, I have to go back. I don't want to mess the audience up too much. I looked up narcissism and I was going, oh my God. I was going, check, check, check. Dave had all of them, lack of empathy, grandiose, entitled, constantly seeking validation, arrogant. He can be very arrogant. It's a disorder of self-esteem. Because what he was doing, even though I know there's something I wish I could share with you guys, and I'm not sure if I should, about David, because I'm looking at David. Why did he behave the way he did with me? And it's almost like, if you have, this is how mind control works. You belittle people, gaslighting. You say one thing, you do another. The abuse was unbelievable. The belittling and the language was just like, if you can pull up the abusive language bit, when you see how he spoke to me.
Right. Well, we have those. I was talking to Pamela about, there was an instance I think I read in his book where he did believe that he experienced perhaps a shapeshifter. I think it was in a dressing room. So is that the case here with Edward Heath's eyes turned completely black? That was the time that he did experience something that he thought could have been a shapeshifter. But yes.
Yeah.
So like so this is like we were saying, we're not here to just bash and try to destroy. We're here to let Pamela tell her side of the story. We don't want people to see this, think that it's just gossip or anything like that. But there are certain things that need to be perhaps shared because they were very abusive during the time. Now relationships get strained, and love causes us to hurt in ways. We lash out. We do harsh things. However, there's some stuff that I saw where it was just like, this would be an area that maybe perhaps people should be aware of, because this wasn't a direct attack, as you've said, wanting to clear your family name. This seemed like a direct attack on your entire family at one point. I think we need to show a little bit of that. The first one I want to show is this, and I did redact, even though I think that the email addresses are no longer even valid. But David seemed to have this idea. So I want to refute a few things. I also want to refute, or have you have the opportunity to speak about what he said about the allegations of sexual promiscuity and all those kinds of things. But this right here, Pam, I know you don't like it, but I'll say it anyway. There's a massive story to know surrounding the background to your family, you and the connections that go off into the conspiracy. Sorry, darling, but it's true, and I have always known it is true. Love, David. He started this kind of thing that was kind of like an attack on your family, accusing almost like the family line of being part of something very nefarious.
Let's that email. Look at the date, January 2009. I left David. This is another kicker. I left David in the family home February 3rd, 2008. This is 1 year I was away. I left David for good February 3rd, 2008, after I came back from Egypt and the Dolphins, because I went there in 2007 for rest and recovery. So from February 3rd, 2008, I was away for 1 year. It was amicable. I was waiting for the papers to sign so that we could get divorced, because it's an English divorce. He was doing all the stuff. Just send me the papers. January of 2009, David drove 16 hours straight from Northern California knocking on my little glass house door, and at 4 a.m. for another reconciliation. I'd been away for 1 year. He stayed for 45 days, and he brought the abuse, because prior to that, he asked me, "Hey, Pam, I'm going to be coming." I've got the email of it as well. I don't know if we have it. "I'm going to be coming to America. Can I come see you?" Do you have that one? And I said, no, not with the
know about
baggage.
that.
That's okay. I have the email. And I said, no, not with the baggage. Well, he came anyway, and he stayed for 45 days, brought the abuse. I was on the phone with my friend in England. And this is, again, it's the typical David hadn't changed. I was happy. I'm getting on with my life. I was away for 1 year. And he came, and I was on the phone with my friend in England. And he was he gets up and he walks very angrily through the bedroom area into the bathroom. Big sliding glass doors out into the garden. That's why it's a glass house. Every entryway is a big glass door, sliding door. And then slams the door. What? Anyway, he opens the door and he walks I could feel the energy. It was like an energetic flame walking by. And then he slammed the sliding glass door into the other room. And she goes, "Who's that?" I said, "Oh, it's just David." Anyway, I get off the phone with her. I go out, and he was standing in the garden. I walk out into the garden. I come up behind him and I put my arms around him. And he throws me back. Starts yelling and screaming, and I don't know why. And he's saying, "Every time I heard you say the word kind, it made me sick." And I'm blah, 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 blah. And he walks from the garden, through the kitchen, through the bedroom, into the bathroom, and he's going to take a shower. And I'm just going. While he was in the shower, I pack his bags and I put them at the door, because I'm not going to take the abuse anymore. And so he opens the door and he looks and sees his bags and he goes, "Oh, I guess I'm leaving." I walk into the shower and I close the door, and I wasn't coming out until he was gone. Then it goes on. I get the call. He left. He parked under a tree. He wasn't feeling well. He had an interview that night. And he's going, "You're going to lose that little glass house," and blah, blah. And I'm going, oh. And he said, he was offering, he said, "How about you do an event?" Because I could, and you make some money. Well, I turned him down 3 times. And then I thought, well, a worker's worth their wages. Okay, I'll do it. And I did it. So this was 2009 that you saw that email. It was February 2009 that he stayed for 45 days, and then I put him out. And so I did the event, "A Worker's Worth Their Wages," but I knew I was going to get the abuse on the run up, and I have all the evidence of that as well.
Right. There's going to be some stuff that we're not going to be able to get to in this one episode, but we want to tell enough of this that people understand that there are very serious things to take into consideration here. And like we said, it would be nice if this could. I have told Pamela that I think that David is just going to ignore this. He's going to call me a nutter in his mind, or maybe to his family or whatever, that some nutter allowed her to come on his show and just try to rehash bullshit or whatever he's gonna say. And I'm gonna tell you, mate, like there's some shit that I think would benefit you health wise to address and make amends for. And I want to get to the email. So we shared the one where he accused something of your entire family. We're trying to clear Pamela's name here and the Richards name. This one, I had Pamela searching for hours yesterday, and this was painful. But we really needed this one because I think it's important. I want to share that now, if that's okay, Pamela.
Yes, of course. Absolutely.
And these emails are no longer active, so I'm not doxing anybody or anything here because it's no longer here. So the top here part is your father, right? This just came in from David. He said he would never write to me again, which only proves that he is a very sick man. So this is, he did the divorce and stuff like that, but this is David, subject from David, saying to your father, correct, Carl?
Yeah.
I am reliably informed that having failed to fleece me through the courts 4 years after she left, that Pamela is in the process of selling her story to the highest bidder in the British media, specifically to make still more money off my back, while attempting out of sheer hatred, bile, and spite to destroy me and my work and hurt me and my family to the maximum extent because Miss Love and Light hates me, my family, and children with a vengeance. Now, I understand, like I said before, that people get heated during divorces and breakups and stuff like that. I'll let you respond to all of this when I'm done. But this is the part that is really concerning to me because when you think about how powerful words are, and Ike knows this kind of stuff. This is the kind of stuff that I still have emails that I haven't released yet that Gene Decode was saying that I was the reason for kids dying in Maui. He put things on me that someday he'll need to account for in this life or the next, I do believe. But listen to this. If what I am very reliably told is true, she should know that a tidal wave of worldwide revulsion will descend upon her immediately and for the rest of her life. And the Richards family name will be dragged through the cesspit ongoing as a result. So he's basically, that's a threat, and that to me is almost, it's basically a curse. He is setting a curse on you, and he's basing it on what we're going to talk about, and I believe is hearsay, and other people just riling him up. I'll finish this, and then we'll discuss it. If she does this, I am not taking it quietly. You can bet on that, and neither will a lot of other people who have experience of her in America and around the world, some of whom have still not fully recovered. Do you want that? Does she want that? If so, bring it on. All the best, David. So this is where he's getting nasty. There's a lot of things we're going to unpack here, but you want to at least, this is when your father is already kind of struggling with dementia too, correct?
Big time.
So that is already like, I mean, come on, David. And obviously this is a while ago. I get that. But like I said, this middle paragraph is the one that really just kind of set me off because this is the kind of stuff that Gene kind of put on me and Pamela and I when we dealing with these kind of things. What I've learned is just to say, no, you cut that cord. I cut it in the name of Jesus Christ. You have your ways. I have mine. But this still is something that David put out there that is very, very, very nasty during a time that was very difficult for your family, and it put it on your entire family. Why it had to involve your entire family, I don't know. But let's go ahead. What he's alluding to here in a lot of this stuff is the stuff that I think that you would like to address and make and at least tell your side of the story, correct?
Yeah, let's unpack this. Yeah, for sure. Number one, people, a lot of people talk about it was so long ago. I don't care. It takes sometimes a long time for somebody to gain strength and courage to actually come out and talk about something that they couldn't do back then. 2011, this was in the middle of our divorce. We started the divorce in January of 2010. So we're already a year and a half into the divorce. In the UK courts that David wanted to drag me and force me to fly to go to. And the courts, the judge, the courts and David's attorneys were telling David, stop emailing her father because he has nothing to do with it.
Right.
But David is so arrogant, he does it anyway. And after my father received this, the next morning, he had another mild stroke. So I could cry.
Hang in there.
So, and I was also, I had in January of 2010 was when I had my near-death experience involving traumatic brain injury and emergency brain surgery. So David was dragging me. I was healing through the divorce, but David was relentless. It was malicious. It was intentional. It was vicious and brutal and premeditated. He had intent to kill me, and he was dragging me through it. And I've got so much evidence of it. It's why I went into a lot of fear, because he sent people to my home to spy on me during the divorce, because I was trying to get the courts to. I didn't want to fly to London because I didn't know what my brain, how it would handle the altitude. But David forced me to go. And I had to borrow the money for my father to fly. And I didn't have money. I represented myself. I've had a friend on the Isle of Wight who helped me. They're called Mackenzie, a Mackenzie friend in the courts. She assisted me. I represented myself against David, a barrister, and his attorney in the courts for 2 days to divorce Mr. Infinite Love. So, yeah, that was weird.
What he's alluding to, so he's saying that you were trying to go and go to the British press and make money. He also accused you of trying to come after a bunch of money, which
Yeah.
you go ahead.
I'll clear that up for sure right now on this topic if you want. I want to be very clear about this. I know what he's talking about. I think that's why he shut me down. But instead of communicating with me, he decided I'm going to talk to her anymore, which is weird because you don't do that when it's David Icke who talks about, I don't hate anybody, except Pamela. And their motto is question everything on Iconic, except Pamela. So there's no justification for the abuse that he was putting upon me. So this is what happened. In that email, what he's saying, if she does this, what he was talking about was during the divorce when I was saying to my friend that you met, Diane, who he just happens to be a lawyer, a 6'2" lawyer from Chicago living in Sedona. I met him and we were friends. He just happened to be a lawyer. He represented me when I was healing from a TBI, and he was able to assist me. I didn't pay him. He was just a friend, and he knew how to do it. He didn't know English course or anything like that. But anyway, he was accepted by the judge, as a matter of fact, to actually represent me in the courts from TV. Because we went down to Phoenix at 3:00 in the morning. Bill and I, we appeared for the first time in this divorce proceedings in the court. First time I saw David and his attorney on television. And that it was at that time because they were delaying. David and his barrister, his attorney, were delaying the financials, and the judge got really pissed off. And he yelled at them. He said, "I want you to send those on Monday to Pamela." And so anyway, that's who Bill is. And
I spoke to Bill.
Yeah.
A lovely guy, and there's some things like I know you have a lot of stories and long stories when it comes to this whole thing, but I think he tried to take advantage of you like he had in the past. You're a sweet lady. You were even willing to entertain the idea that maybe you had been mind controlled. You were doing the things that David asked of you. In this case, it seemed like David had agreed to something with you. You had agreed to it, but then people like around you were saying like that's not even like fair. Like you should at least be able to get this just legally, not trying to like be a money grubber or anything like that. And then Bill was the same way. It's just like in the States, like we have like the entire recommendation. So Ike continued to send these nasty emails to her father. And then there's one where I don't need to show it on the screen because we don't need to go through the whole thing. But if we need to, we will. But Bill gives his opinion on it, and I'm reading it, and I'm like, this is exactly right. 50-50. Whatever you guys made both together as a relationship in a marriage, where he's at is the same as the United States. It's just 50-50. It's the way it is. You're partners. You joined into a marriage, a partnership, and togetherness. 50-50. It's just that fucking simple. No more, no less. 50-50 of those 11 years, David. That's all it should have been. And he drug it out, and he did little quips in the news. Now, I don't know if he said anything that was specifically like Pamela's this, but he did things like you said, like if only dolphins could sue. Now, Gene Decode did that to me. He'd go on podcasts and he would never say my name, but he would say, I can't believe all the infiltration that came onto my team, accusing people like me and others of coming from an organization like Davos to infiltrate him like he's so important. But anyways, these public figures have ways of speaking to us without saying our names, so no one really knows, but by hitting us and hurting us, and or trying to. And so that's what we're here to discuss. But like Bill said, it should have been 50-50. And in the end, you didn't take anything, right? There was no settlement. You were just like, get me the fuck out of this.
Well, it's again, I was healing from the TBI as well. And when he said, if she does this, what he meant, and this is the 50-50 thing, it got to the point in my mind where I had no holds barred. I said, okay, gloves off. I'm going 50-50. And that's when all the financials had to come in and blah, blah, blah. Now, at this point, when David was dragging me through it, when I went 50-50 is when I said, I need money. I'm going to sell my story. And I was searching around the world. I had 3 girlfriends that were helping me in different countries, and they were going, yeah, well, check out this. They're buying stories over here. Bottom line, I sold my story to the Daily Mail, and I think you might have it up there. I don't know, Julian. I sold my story to the Daily Mail. I was paid $6,000, which helped me, right? It's like, David, you think, what? When you are at the point of no return and you are in a position there, what are you going to do? I sold a story. I got some money to try and finish this divorce because I had to fly to London. He sent people to spy on me, like I was saying about. They were they were reporting back to David because he was trying to prove that I could fly, that I wasn't wounded. TBIs are the silent epidemic and the walking wounded. It's a wound you cannot see. How dare he? Oh, TBI community got real upset about this one. And so if she does this, this is what will happen. I went 50-50. And this is the arrogance. It's like, David, oh my God. And what he was talking about money, he said that top line, that didn't make any sense. She's been trying to, the way he worded it, she's been trying to rape me or something for 4 years. And I'm thinking, well, first off, in the courts, 4 years in court. I'm thinking, number one, that's wrong. We had 2.5 years in court and I didn't bring it on. David is the one who opened the courts. He's the one who decided to go that way. So it's like you do what you have to do in the situation. And then, but he went ballistic. Now, when he talks about the money thing, when I left in 2008 from the Isle of Wight, amicably, getting on with my life for that 1 year, I met a woman from Canada online somehow, and she's a JD, and her specialty was marital resolves, right? She was going to write a book. We were going to co-author a book. I was actually co-authoring a book with her, which had to do everything to do with just my dolphin stories and everything, it's like holographic universe and my views on life and all that. A very positive book. Anyway, she goes, what? She said, you walked away with nothing? And I said, uh-huh. Wow, no problem. Every time when I left the Isle of Wight, I asked David for enough money to buy a car, and he said, I think I've given you enough. And every time I would say things like, well, I got this all the time, this mantra from David, you're not going to hurt me, you can hurt the message. So I'm thinking, I don't want to hurt the message, which meant Bridge of Love Publications, which is now David Icke Books. I didn't want to hurt it, no, because I believed in the message. If I had that in me, I'm going, it's hard to speak truth when you're dealing with a man who shuts you out, and gets upset. And so I walked with nothing. Yeah, that's true. But when I was had left, and the JD lady, Mare, her name was Mare, and when she said that, she wrote up something. She goes, I'm going to type this up. She wrote up a proposal. And I said, okay, I'll send it to Dave and see what he says. Now, I actually have those papers, and I re-looked at them recently. I go, oh my God, that's too much, way too much. It was like $2,000 a month or something. I don't need that, and I don't want to hurt the business, right? So anyway, send it to him to review. But instead of communicating with me, because he knows that if he sat down with me and said, Pamela, we can't afford this, because he's done it with me before. I said, but I don't want to hurt. No, you guys have it.
Right.
And
So
all
this
that.
is the part where I feel like he was trying to, with his leverage, use the court system, but also he was trying to communicate to you and your family and get you guys to agree to something that was not on par with what should have legally just been done. A JD apparently is a juris doctor, Juris doctor. They help in divorce proceedings.
Well, yeah.
But no matter what, everybody can have their side of things, and David can claim that you agreed to something, but you were trying to be nice, I think, and you had it an offer or whatever, and then it changed because you were getting some recommendations from professionals that were saying, like, this is not how it's done. It should be at least 50-50, and it should look something like this. So then you proposed that, and he lost his shit, which it sounds like that's at that point is when he sent people to, like, literally, and I don't know how much you spent on this or how it worked, but it looked like he was like investigating you. And then it came to accusations that he was trying to bring, which apparently never came out in court. Otherwise, he probably would have brought him forward. But he was emailing you guys and taunting you, saying things like this. Now, people can't really read that on the screen, but I have it pulled up here and I'll read it to you. He was saying things like, Pamela, just to let you know, a number of people have come forward in the last few months to tell me that you had a secret life while you were living on the Isle of Wight. They have told me about your car being parked at secluded country locations where you met people. This one has been mentioned quite a bit, and he actually put a picture there. They have told me of a daytime trips to Portsmouth and South Sea, plus much blah, 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 blah. It's been a bit of a shocker for me, really, as you might appreciate. Are they all lying? If so, why? I don't understand. Anyway, just letting you know, all the best. Bewildered, Isle of Wight. And then over here on this other one it says, okay, Pamela, I'll go forward on the basis that these people have told me the truth. Then, after your decision not to reply to my question, the detail they given me makes that obvious anyway, to be honest. My God, I am truly blown away. All the best. David. And we got another receipt to share where the accusations are that you were doing like phone sex with people and meeting up with people and hooking up with them sexually. Those were the kind of things that he was emailing you. Why not just take that to your fucking lawyer and let them deal with it in legal way if it's true? Why just taunt and try to like intimidate you? And if nothing else, this would be one of those things where it's almost like a threat to smear you in the public, which kind of freaking happened. We have that receipt we haven't shown yet.
Yeah.
And so I would just want you the opportunity to address these things,
Yes.
because those are quite the accusations. And once again, David should have just taken that information to an attorney if it was legit and real, and they would have brought it up in court, and it would have been handled in the court of law. And this is where I was showing you earlier that although I want to stick with my nice picture that I have behind me, this is where we are in the court of public opinion. And I got my suit on and I'm ready to go. And we are exposing things here that need to be handled. But I do like my podcasting with my seashell underwater. But however, I'm prepared to go to court on this bullshit. So go ahead and address these accusations that never really came to light. He was just using them as an intimidation factor, it seemed like.
It's or trying to trigger me, thinking I'm mind control. I lived with that so long. Okay, when I remember that so well. When he sent that picture, I was blown away. First off, I want to know who he's talking to. Who is he listening? He didn't see that. He says, I've got this from reliable sources. They saw you there. I'm thinking, who are these people? Number one, it's all bullshit. None of it's true. Well, I don't know about that picture. What? Prove it. Who are these people you're talking? I want them to come and look me in the eyes and tell me that you saw me there. When I left David on February 3rd, 2008 from the Isle of Wight, I have been celibate for 17 years. I was petrified to have anyone come near me after what I was dealing with Ike. I'm a one-man woman. That's it. I'm very protective of my body, and he's trying to smear me and make me think, oh, just wait till we get to the other between David, what he did and what he put me through. Oh yeah, we're gonna have some fun on that one.
Right. We still got Matthew, and we still have the Regina article. That's not actually that very long. I don't know if you want to go to one of those, because these were the attempts to smear you in the public, not just emailing you and harassing you.
Yeah. Yeah, this was all during that 2.5 years divorce. I'm healing from the TBI. We're getting a divorce, but this is what he was doing behind the scenes while we're trying to get a divorce. He's sending what? And the reason why he had that second email, I'm totally blown away. Well, when I received that email with that picture and him saying all that stuff, I was done. It was too incoherent to even respond. Because you can't reason with an irrational mind. I'm done, David. Done. I can't talk. Nope. And he got pissed off because I didn't answer him. I'm not going there. This is bullshit.
Right. So let's get into where it did get public. And first I'll bring up a picture of who this is. And you can tell that you know this lady. Regina, right? She's the one that wrote the blog post?
Yes.
We'll get to the blog post in just a moment, but weren't you even roommates at one point with her or something?
I left David I left him actually before that, but the first big time leaving amicably was in 2005, and I stayed with Regina Meredith. It was all amicable, all good. Thank you, Shop. Love you too, darling. I lived with Regina for 4 months. I was getting on with my life. I found film school, which the Zaki Gordon Institute for Independent Filmmaking in Sedona, Arizona. And I go, oh my gosh, I found my love. And that's what I was going to do. I was going to help share David's story through film. And because it's amicable, and I lived with her for 4 months. I was moving out, getting a condo. And it was then that David emailed Regina and said, oh my God, is she serious? Of course I'm serious. I'm going to get on with my life. And because I was getting on with my life, I was going to get my own place. That's when David started making stronger moves to come in again. And the emails that share, and I've got all the evidence in the email exchanges. Bottom line, he says, Pamela, come home. It hurts too much, basically. I can't take this anymore. And so I left film school and I went back to England. And that was when my Annus Horribilis really began, was the year of 2006, when his documentary was created. The David Icke, Was He Right? Yep, there it is. That was in October of 2005. I was in the middle of film school and I left in December back to England with him. And and he said, oh, that's one email I don't think I gave you, Dorian, but he said, when you come home, we'll go out and do film stuff and and all this. Well, that never happened. The documentary happened. There was an underlying attempt. That's why I call it the Pamela conspiracy, because there was an underlying attempt that's in that letter that proves it, with David's letter to Carrie and Matthew DeLuz proves what was happening, and I didn't know it until later. 2007, when I went to Egypt and the dolphins. 2006, after leaving film school. That year was Annus Horribilis for me. Although it was good, it was also my unknown Annus Horribilis, because he wanted to get rid of me. They were conspiring to get rid of me. They were feeding David lies.
Right. And I know you got a lot of stories in between. Let's get back and just so everybody knows. So she now has moved on to Gaia TV, correct? As far as you know?
Correct. I think it was Conscious Media Network that she was doing her podcasting thing, and from what I understand, Gaia bought her out. So now she's in Gaia.
And she's close with David still.
I don't know. She probably is still. I don't know.
You don't know
Probably.
that part. Okay, well, let's get to this because this is what was put out.
Probably
Uh,
because she could have been sued for defamation of character on this article right here, but I didn't do it because I'm healing and I'm dealing with a divorce. This is
right, and so this
yeah.
is Thursday, August 12th, 2010. David Icke, the beleaguered, or however you say that, beleaguered warrior.
Mhm.
She came out, and even though she knew you, and she went on the what seems to be an attack here. I'll go ahead and read through it. I'll read through it swiftly, and then we'll discuss it. We can stop along the way if you'd like. But there is a time when the warriors amongst us must be honored. I have a friend who most of you are aware of. His work is tireless, yet the challenges against him mount. He has chosen a path few would dare consider, as it has put him in the line of fire within his community, country, and even on a global scale. I am referring to David Icke. On the public side of our relationship with David, I have interviewed him a half a dozen times. On the private side, he has been a guest in our home, staying for weeks at a time to rest and continue working on his books while on speaking tours in the United States. Due to this intimate degree of contact, I have observed him close up. What some may find surprising is that he is not an angry man. I don't know about that. Rather focused and polite. He treats his fellow man with kindness. Perhaps this is because he is fully aware of what humanity is up against in terms of the plethora of control systems in place. As a result, he has a deep compassion for his fellow human being. Some of you may already know what is to follow here, but most of you do not. David has suffered with rheumatoid arthritis his entire adult life, and that is horrible, and I don't wish that on anybody. Arthritis is so severe that there are days when you would find him walking around with his shoes untied. This is because he cannot reach them. There have been times when his friends, including myself, have tied them for him. There's a small humiliation in his voice when he asks for help. Now, this is
Later.
playing on the sympathy card. Now, like I said, I don't want to downplay the suffering that he goes through. I get suffering and pain. I don't want to downplay that. But Gene used to do the kind of the same thing. It was always pray for Gene, his shoulder, his the stingers and the shedders and all that kind of stuff. They play on that kind of stuff all the time. And so in this article, she's playing the sympathy side of things because there's many ways you can write stuff like this. Anyways, the massive tombs he writes, these prolific offerings are produced with two fingers. The arthritis has deformed his hands to the extent that he has only his two index fingers available for a hunt and peck style of keyboarding. Yet for 8 to 12 hours a day, he sits at the computer determined to put the pieces of the big picture together for all of his readers on the verge of awakening and or remembering. But perhaps more painful than the arthritis has been the emotional trauma of having his world turned upside down by two people who entered his life within weeks of one another about a decade ago. One was his American publishing associate, Royal Adams. We'll get into that a little bit with you, Pamela, who has recently served time in prison for tax fraud. He stole a fortune from David over many years by hiding the number of books that were being sold and pocketing the difference. He also covertly put the rights to David's books in North America in his own name. David had to take incredibly expensive legal action to win back the rights to his own books, and as a result, never earned a penny from any book sales, DVD sales, or talks worldwide for 3 years. It all went in legal costs. Royal contacted David via Pamela Richards, who became David's second wife. The marriage ended more than 3 years ago, but now, as David has got back on his feet financially, Pamela is currently demanding immense amounts of money from David in a divorce settlement after not getting a job herself for the last 3 years. There's where some of that defamation and slander would come in, I'd imagine, Pamela? As fate would have it, it has been David's first wife, Linda, and their children who have been supportive and worked alongside him in the family publishing business in all these years, a business which David sold to Linda for £1 in recognition of her fantastic work and support over the last 20 years. Pamela contributed nothing to any of his books or the publishing of them, yet wants the money. One would begin to wonder if Royal and Pamela were a package deal sent by some force beyond to have created such emotional and financial wreckage in David's life. But David keeps on writing and speaking to crowds for 8-hour stretches, demanding organizers charge smaller ticket prices than they would otherwise do so for his marathon talks. I've heard he makes a pretty dang good penny now giving speaking events. Anyways, while he is determined to convey to humanity that we need to get up off our knees and stand for our truth, there must be days when he can barely utter the words to himself, yet he never stops. This is the life of the warrior, and David is as brave as a one as I have ever known.
Oh, God.
Now to unpack this and confront it, finally. Go ahead, Pamela.
We need some violin music, play the violin.
All right.
Yeah. So, all right. Yeah, this is a big one. Okay. Clear this up. Okay. Number one, you all know that I live with Regina. That's how I met her. A left and a go back and all that. Then now the date of this beleaguered warrior article, right, came out in August 12th of 2010. I had my near-death experience January 2010. It's when our divorce began. 8 months into all that, this comes out. David is all over that. Number one, David did not meet Royal through me. We both met Royal together through something. Howard Royal liked David and whatever, and that's how Royal came in. He's trying to portray, again, the idea that mind controlled Pamela and Royal Adams, two of the worst people that came into his life. We were a team. We're here to hurt him. And I'm okay, because I'm healing, dealing with the divorce.
And you have some of this in your presentation here, it seems.
Yeah, somebody told me, somebody said, Pamela, have you seen this? And they passed it by me. And I said, no, I haven't. And when I read that Beleaguered Warrior article, I'm just going, what? Oh my God. He's trying to put, because Royal Adams, I used to say to David, when Royal came into the fold, he became the U.S. person. I'm living on the Isle of Wight with my husband, David. I used to say to David, hey, David, where's all the money going? I was seeing it. I'm going, you're doing all this stuff. I questioned it already. And I was, where's the money going? So anyway, we know where the money was going. Obviously, later on, we come to find out. And Royal did go to prison for that. I was in the courtroom with David in America, in Missouri, when that happened. Now, David's trying to put Royal and I together as if we came in, right? That Beleaguered Warrior article, when I saw it, all the comments that came in, and I did copy them, I just don't, they were in one of my hard drives. They were not very kind. They don't even know Pamela. But it was like, they're just listening to what is being said. This is why the power of word is important, and be very careful what you say, because you can hurt somebody or you can lift them up. That article was trying to damage me and my character and my name in public.
Right.
And all these comments were coming through. And I'm in a state of being where I really am in Zen. I just can't deal with too much. I'm healing. And someone, and I sent that to you. I think I sent that to you. His name was Roger. Do you remember that one? He's the one who posted a comment on that Beleaguered Warrior article, and there was 100 comments. Boom, 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 boom. There were a couple that were kind. There were a couple that said, "Ooh, this doesn't sound right," but most of them were agreeing with how they were just saying horrible things about me, and they don't even know me or the situation. And when Roger posted the one comment, he said, he was a producer of the UFO TV in Tucson, Arizona. I know him. And when he found out about this article,
is it this one? I thought this was Jonathan or something, but is this the one you're referring to? Can you hear me?
No. That's a whole nother story. That's when David was coming out. That's a whole nother line. The Beleaguered Warrior, and when Roger made the comment, basically what he was saying was, Regina, you're walking on treading on some thin ice here. You better be careful. blah, blah, blah. And he goes, because you're looking at defamation of character. And then I gained the courage and the strength after that to make a comment myself to clear up the connection between Royal Adams and me, because I'll tell you about that in a second. And when I posted it, I laid it out a little clearly. And when I posted it, Regina shut all comments off. No more comments, because I came in just after I came in, of course.
You do have a response by a gentleman named Jim.
Jim Rogers. I'm sorry. Yeah, Jim Rogers.
Jim Rogers. Okay, so I do have that. Here we go. I got confused because Jim and Jonathan. Let me pull this one up and I'll read it, even though
Thank you.
it's on the screen here, but it's a little bit blurry and it's on the right. Everybody can see this, okay? All right, that's the best I can do. Let me get to it. It says, Regina, your article, The Beleaguered Warrior, in my opinion, is journalism at its worst. It is pure one-sided, hateful mudslinging, streaming forth from someone that is sticking their nose in an area that is someone else's personal business. I would be careful if I were you. Your sensational one-sided blog article does not give Pamela's side of the story at all. And that's what we're here to do, is to give Pamela her side of the story. Yet you don't seem to hesitate or have any problem at all in helping to perpetuate a discoloring assassination of Pamela's character, which could result in damaging her future prospects at making a living. Exactly. You were kind of in this business world. You helped create his David Icke website at one point. You were doing coding and you were helping out with various things. This could have, I mean, it's a problem for you, and it could have been brought into the legal court in your divorce proceedings. Anyways, by the way, after reading this, I have looked at Pamela's site and found nothing but praise for David there. And you still seem to side with a lot of the things that David and even some of his boys share online, it seems, right? You seem to agree with some of their points, and you're willing to agree with them on that.
Yes.
Yes. So anyways, I'll finish this up and then we can discuss. I'm right here. I would be very careful if I were you. You are treading on very dangerous legal ground for someone who is supposed to know the rules of the road of journalism. In fact, it might serve you well if you retracted this article and apologized to Pamela and all other honest journalists out there, Jim. So I think it was important. I think he said that very well, and it was all one-sided, and that's why we're showing what was being put out there by Regina, and that's David's side of the story, and now you get to hear Pamela's side of the story. Praise God.
Hallelujah. Yeah, there's a few things in there. It's that the thing that, why doesn't she, who doesn't get a job? And I'm thinking, this is what I said. You know what my job is, David? My job was during that time, get a divorce. That was my job. And and then the other thing about the money thing about in that article where it says, and his family works and blah, 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 and all the money thing. Well, when I was with Regina, in 2005, I think it was 2006. We went back. David and I went back to stay with Regina. I think it was in 2006 because I had already left. And then David and I went back, and it was during that time David was going through some legal stuff, right? And the family business. I was never involved in it. Thank you so much, Talmud. Thank you. I was never involved in. I was fine. I had everything I needed. I need food, water, shelter. I was fine. I'm very frugal, but I was working. Not working, and I secured when we were there with Regina at that time in 2006. David was panicking because of the business, and they were needing money because they were dealing with a lawsuit in Canada with Richard Warman on that. That's a whole nother issue with Richard Warman was trying to attack and sue David. That's a whole nother story about the Anti-Defamation League and all that stuff. But so he was worried about that. And I heard it, so what I did, and I have the actual email I don't know if I sent it to you, Joy, but I put out an SOS to everyone that I knew, and I wrote up this thing requesting help for Bridge of Love. The short of it is, one of the people got involved. Her name is Amanda. I secured, by this invitation, $230,000 to Bridge of Love. And I didn't receive a penny of it, of course, because I believed in Bridge of Love. I supported it. And not only was it 120 from the foundation, it was 10,000 personal from Amanda, and her brother put another 100,000 personal in.
And
230.
you received none of it.
Of course not. I didn't need it. I wanted to help the business, keep your business going. Yeah.
Right. And for those that people have been asking how David makes his money, he makes it on speaking engagements. He's sold a lot of books. They have him and his sons and everybody have this iconic website. So, and I'm sure it does really well. Like I said, I paid for a year of it. I was sucked into a lot of the truthers at this time, and to David's credit, he was right about Trump, and they never really cared for Trump, and now it seems to be like he was correct on those things. But like we were talking about, Pamela has been still favorable towards a lot of the stances and things that they do stand for and promote. It's just don't be two-faced and lie about this stuff. We're about 2 hours into this episode, and we can go longer. I'd like to, since let's get all this really tough stuff. Not saying we're going to get through all of it and get it out of the way, but the Matthew. Do you want to get to the Matthew part of this, where his statement of what was going on? Because you didn't take any money for what you just talked about there. What was that called? The Bridge of
Love.
Bridge of Love. So when Jim Rogers was talking to
Regina.
what's her name, the Regina, about that article and talking about how it could hurt professional future for Pamela, absolutely right. And now here's another guy that comes in and gives testimony to what took place in a way that was also very backstabbing and disgusting that happened. So this is a statement from Matthew. What was his last name?
Deleuze.
Right. So anyways, so to Pamela Leigh Richards, this is his statement. During the years of 2004 to 2006, I was starting to write and publish articles and self-published books that were linked to conspiracies and spirituality. In early 2007, which was the spring, just as my information was becoming popular, I was contacted by a man claiming to be the book sales manager, internet shop creator on the davidicke.com website. His name was John Peters. He said he was going to start selling my books over the internet on the David Icke bookshop. But he said he needed to see me in person first. I immediately arranged to meet him in Morecambe, Lancaster. He traveled up from Surrey. We met at a hotel in Preston, but then traveled to the Stone Jetty on Morecambe Promenade. Sorry, I'm probably butchering these names. I'm a dumb white American. Within 5 minutes of talking with Mr. Peters about my books, the subject of Pamela Icke, the wife of David Icke, cropped up in the conversation after I commented on her good looks. I was then angrily informed that Pamela Icke was totally crazy. So this is something that this guy never needed to talk about. It was unprofessional for him to bring forward. And Matthew was kind enough to give a statement about how this, again, is another way that it could have hurt Pamela professionally. Mr. Peters immediately stated with an extremely confident tone that Pamela was going to disappear and be out on her arse soon. This is in 2006, is it? 2007? Mr. Peters also claimed Pamela was promiscuous. Again, spreading this bullshit about you being promiscuous that is not true and was never proven. And we're setting the records straight. But promiscuous is a slang term that was used, and that he regularly enjoyed phone sex with her, and that real physical sex was always on the table anytime he wanted it. So this guy was claiming that he was having phone sex with you, Pamela?
No.
Do you know anything about this, Mr. Peters?
Just finish this because I'm going to tell you something about that. Okay.
Okay. I took this information about Pamela with a pinch of salt and put it down to fantasy and boasting on the part of an oversexed John Peters. The meeting ended and my books were to be sold on David Icke Books. Mr. Peters was then in constant touch with me for several months, and the subject of Pamela Icke was always brought up by Mr. Peters, especially about her sex life, but the main thing being that she was going to be forced out or thrown out by David because she was up to no good. So hey, what was David telling Mr. Peters? Anyways, Mr. Peters, or what was Mr. Peters also lying and telling David? It's just a perpetual disgusting cycle. Anyways, Mr. Peters claimed Pamela had sex or had flirtingly offered sex to several other men, including David's own son, Gareth. Now, Gareth could come out and make that claim if you want, Gareth.
To my eye. Say it to my face, Gareth. Yeah.
Exactly. I was informed that members of David Icke's family, namely his ex-wife Linda and his daughter Carrie, had raised many red flags about Pamela to David and were constantly trying to get David to do something about it. It appeared that David wouldn't listen at first, but was being constantly informed by people around David that Pamela was trouble. And there were some issues that seemed like it was popping up in the family, but you have all these rumors going around by guys like this Mr. Peters, and that's what makes it so tough. Mr. Peters told me that Pamela's main aim in the marriage was to take or spend the money being created by the David Icke.com and all that by David Icke. He claimed all Pamela did was spend all the money before it was earned. He even claimed that Pamela spent 3,000, is that euros? Is that what that means?
Yes, probably, or pounds.
Pounds on hippie food in a week, organic cabbage. That said, John Peters himself said DavidIcke.com was soon to make $1 million soon. $1 million. And this would increase, and you started that, right? Just before we go on, you helped start, right. And so this would increase rapidly in the future. Yep, you were part of starting that. And then they're trying to destroy you. He also said that because of this increase in wealth, that a limited company would be set up in the names of Linda Atherton and others to purposely stop Pamela from claiming anything in the future after the ousting had taken place. I was informed even a psychic, Carol Clark, who also plays into this, that we might get into sometime. I don't know if so much on this one, but in this series, had informed David Icke that Pamela was up to no good and should be got shot of. This information was apparently applauded by Peters, as he said David took the words of Carol Clark very serious indeed. Like I'm saying, the guy that seems to have all the answers for the world only gets his answers from other various people, including psychics. Anyways, as the months passed by in 2007, and I have not found any psychics to be credible or at least have any idea what's going on. Otherwise, I think that they'd be all over online and people would actually believe them. But no, psychics get everything wrong that I've ever seen and people still love them. Anyways, Mr. Peters constantly informed me about the Pamela situation, mostly sexual tales, but also tales of her intentions to take control of money from the business. It became clear to me whatever Mrs. Icke was guilty of or not guilty of, that several people had it in for her and simply wanted her out of the way. At the time, I had no idea if the allegations about Pamela were true or not, but the situation started to appear sinister and totally unfair from my viewpoint. In fact, it felt like a witch hunt was taking place. I had neither met in person David or Pamela, so I had no insight into what was really going on. And this, so like I'm saying, this is a guy that had no relationship with Pamela, and he's just seeing this for what it is, and he's just like, what the heck? This isn't right. I only had the dirty linen type of information being provided constantly by Mr. Peters that said it was very clear, which is super unprofessional, like I said, that numerous people were telling David Icke that his wife was some sort of Illuminati stooge or a mind-controlled agent out to rob him or cause destruction for David Icke himself. I found some of the accusations absolutely ridiculous. John Peters constantly informed me about the attacks on Pamela almost on a weekly basis. This is just a business relationship with some guy. He's just gossiping to him. But anyways, and this is the other crazy thing, that you just wanted money. You ended up taking no money. And you're not here for money. Some asshole came in here saying that there's no links to donate to you. You're not here to take money. You're here to clear your name and your family's name. we'll finish this and we'll discuss more. But I just want to make this clear. But around October, November of 2007, I had irreversible cause to remove my books from the David Icke website over another matter involving accusations made by John Peters about a male friend of mine. So these guys, this John Peters guy, man, he's a piece of work. Mr. Gossip. Sounds like Gene Decode. Gene Decode loves to gossip. Anyways, this caused me deep distress and anger. I lost all contact with John Peters, and my brief relationship with David Icke Books ended then. In December of 2008, I was actually contacted by Miss Pamela Icke over the internet over work-related issues. The conversations that followed and the extreme emotional state Mrs. Icke was in at that time only confirmed my previous opinion that she was becoming the victim of a witch hunt, and sadly that witch hunt was prolonged and vicious, in my opinion. I eventually informed Mrs. Icke of the prolonged comments by Mr. Peters throughout 2007. I believe Mrs. Icke left her marital home permanently in 2008. From my perspective, the witch hunt had gone on for well over 12 months, but Mr. Peters had stated that Pamela's position was always being scrutinized and she simply wasn't wanted or required as the business grew. I always found Mrs. Icke to be the total opposite of the Scarlet Woman planted by Mr. Peters, and I willingly write this statement based on those findings. That said, I could only write this statement because of what I witnessed direct from Mr. John Peters, no one else. I state that my comments are true and accurate. I also state that I have not received any payment for making this statement. Signed, Matthew Deleuze, 27th of September 2012. Woo!
So much.
Absolutely. Thank you, Matthew, for providing that. Now it gets out to a wider group of people that can know more of the story. And when you talk about hurting businesses and hurting people's potential in the future to make money, Regina and this Peters guy, they're lucky they haven't been sued.
I know. Would you like me to respond to that?
Absolutely, wherever you'd like to take it now. I wanted to make sure that got in this video and that got out there, and I think that that tells more of the picture as well.
I appreciate you, Dorian, so much. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Unbelievable. Just incredible. Somebody who finally gets it. Now, JP, when I told David he should get his own website, we started doing that. I'm the one who put out the call for webmasters. 2 webmasters came into fold. JP and Sean Adel. It's got a long last name, Adel, Sean Adel. JP, I'm working on the website. I would get calls sometimes from JP. And I'm a friendly person. It's like, hey, JP, what's going on? Okay, we're trying to do business stuff. And he would start talking personal stuff. And this is how crazy it is. And I'm going to be absolutely honest of what he said to me. He would literally tell me as if it's going to turn me on or something. Yeah, I think he's a little, anyway, he'd be saying stuff like the sexual stuff, like he had a girl up on a tree or something. And David walked in. I'm going to be honest. I swear to God, I dare David Icke to look me in the eyes and tell me I was wrong. I'm on the phone. JP's doing his little shit sex stuff. I hate it. And I said, David, I don't like this, man. I don't like it. And David encouraged it because he got off on it. I hung up the phone. So that's JP. Yeah, JP is oversexed. JP is oversexed.
It's pretty telling when another man that has no relation to you, no idea who you are other than that you're David Icke's wife, and has nothing to do as far as like any communication with you, is so turned off by another guy saying this stuff, and has the mind enough to realize that this guy, something's not right with him.
Yeah.
Because a lot of guys will be like, yeah, man, she's just a slut. She's just a that. She's just a whatever. It was amazing and beautiful that in this scenario, you had a gentleman in Matthew that was on the ball and knew exactly what he was feeling and stayed tuned into it.
Yeah, Matthew was a very dear friend. We were in touch by phone for a long time. He's no longer with us, bless his beautiful soul.
Well,
And yeah, he was. And what's really it really hurt because when I read that and he said, yeah, she spends all this money on organic food. I only shopped on the island at God's Hill Organics because I wanted good food for our home, for my husband and I. I even got organic because David drinks, and I got organic wine. And then for JP to say that, like, she spent so much money on organic food. I just spent money on organic food. Yeah, I didn't spend a lot. I spent enough. That was, for us. And then now I was working with Sean and AP because they're webmasters, right?
Sean and who?
And then
I'm
we
sorry,
can go
you cut
into
out there for a second. You said you were working with Sean and who?
JP that we're talking about now. Am I cutting out?
You cut out a little bit. So you're Sean and JP, this guy that we were just discussing, the oversexed maniac. They were webmasters that you were working with on the David Icke site.
Exactly. Yes.
And so this is the crazy thing, because Pamela started that website, even the idea for it, and then when it came to the divorce, she was asking for the claim was just asking for too much money, and then they were trying to find a way to slander her so she couldn't get money. She ended up not taking any settlement or any money, from my understanding, and yet Mr. Peters anyway is bragging that it was going to hit 1 million and a lot more was on the way. And then David can't even be a man and do 50-50 with a woman that he was with for 11 years.
He wouldn't even give me enough money to buy a car when I left. He said, I think I've given you enough. So it's like, this is where this position of power and control and the way it's done, this is what I think, this is exactly why women stay with abusive men. Yeah. Because I love you, I hate you thing, right? It was me that actually closed the door. He threw me away many times, called me back. Right. I said, I'm not a rag doll, man, to be tossed about. I was going, what? It was just weird, but that love thing kind of keeps you going. And then all of a sudden there comes a moment where you just have to say, no more.
Right.
And on the forum, I mean, there's so much, guys. There's just so much. Even when I was trying to get out in 2006, I left film school in 2005, remember? 2006, doing our thing. David said, you can do those filming stuff. That was when we actually went to create a mutwa as well. And Carol Clark comes into that as well. But as far as why, on David's forum, David didn't like forums. He goes, I don't want to sell bikinis and stuff and all that. I don't want to do that. But forums were kind of a big thing so people can communicate with each other. So David Icke started his forum with Sean and JP. I was working with them. I started a cafe press site because when I was leaving David, I thought, well, hey, David, how about I actually created something. I started a cafe press site for merchandise. And I designed with the help of a friend, Sierra, and it was great. Anyway, I said, David, can you put this cafe press site on your forum? He said, sure. I got onto David's forum, but guess what happened? And I've got the email exchanges to show the communications. Get her off. I don't want her on there. I don't want her on. I don't know why. So I was like, why? It was so brutal. Like, oh my God. So that's the whole JP thing, that connection there. I even have a film. During that time, there was something weird. knowing all this information, when I look at this film, the footage that I have, it was in the front room in our flat. Sean was there, JP was there. We're all having a great time. We're all getting ready to go out. And this one clip, it caught my attention because JP's walking up into the camera, we're getting ready to go out. And David says something about, it's like, well, we can't wait till next week. JP looks at David, and my camera's looking at JP's, he's looking at David. And he made this comment like, well, we don't know if she's going to be there. About talking about me. Right. I mean, that's or further proof of there's something going on that I don't know about. And JP slipped right there and said it. So, I mean, it's just crazy. It doesn't have to be like this, man. And I'm not here to hurt David. I'm just here to share the story because, like I keep saying, I am not afraid to take my last breath on Earth. I'm not. And I'm going to go down with only truth and love in my wake. And we're going to have some fucking fun on the way out. Sorry. I'm sorry.
No, that's me. Hey, welcome to D-Mind and Booma, son. I'm usually the one that's going off. This has been great because I've communicated quite a bit with Pamela, and we have some similar personality stuff where she does get kind of goofy and like, yeah, man, and hey, bro, what's up, bro? And so we get to talking sometimes, and it's like really fun. It's really cool, and you've been nothing but great. We will. I mean, if you want to talk some more, like we can start wrapping up a little bit, but we could also, if anybody has some questions they'd like to throw out there. I know people want to get into more like the reptilian stuff. I think we will. I think for this one, we wanted to really come out with, like I told Pamela, I think come out with the stuff because people are gonna accuse of gossip. They're gonna accuse of like someone came in here and like you want money, and it's just like you didn't take money in the divorce. You could have fought for it. You deserved it. You helped create the website. In legal terms, it should have just been 50-50. And yet, in the end, you didn't even take a settlement, and you were just like, it's not about the money. It's about truth. And here you are. The truth will heal, and the trauma has been released. And like I said, I expect David to just pretend like we don't exist. However, it would be really nice. Like when I've exposed certain people, like even with Gene, and I think that son of a gun is evil, evil, evil. Is his own special kind of psychopath. I don't think that he'll ever come to the table. But it would be amazing if one person could come and own up to their bullshit. It would be amazing. And there would be so many people willing to welcome them, and the healing would be so powerful that I think it would change things. And I pray that that's part of what we could get here. However, I expect David to ignore and it to be nothing. If he responds aggressively, then we go from there, and it is what it is. But I took my time with this one. We spent a lot of time talking, and I've found Pamela to be nothing but kind, considerate, traumatized, I would say, through something that is a long-lasting, and like we showed in those emails, in a way, a curse against you and your family. And you wanted to clear things up, finally, to get out there to perhaps at least a large enough audience that it'll make an impact, and your story can be told the right way. And I hope that I'm helping you do that to the best of my ability.
Absolutely. You are, Dorian. And to the audience, I just want to share, Dorian is one of the most beautiful, balanced people from so full-rounded. I mean, in my view, crazy, funny, he's just, and just adorable. He's just adorable in my book. And I'm just so grateful that somebody God brought Dorian to me. I will say that. Dorian, because Dorian's perfect. He's perfect for me in the storytelling and being truthful and honest and not being afraid and have courage. And thank you for bringing Darren. And if anyone can help, I'm just, please help him, because he helped me and I didn't pay a thing. So I bless your beautiful heart, Dorian.
I'm here for you, and it's my pleasure. We do have one question, if you'd like. Here, they're asking you, Pamela, how was David when he wasn't on tour?
Oh, you mean like when we're at home doing nothing?
Yeah, I mean, like, was it Jekyll and Hyde quite a bit, or was it, periods of good and then,
All the time.
yeah,
And when we go further, there's going to be a lot of clarification for understanding you people in the public. Um, the anyone who says anything, I just shut that out. If they say anything like she's just in it for the money, or relationships have is this, I'm done. I'm like, you have not walked in my shoes, honey. And until you do,
right.
get off my screen.
Absolutely. And I think in this episode, the introduction of the Hidden Door series that we're going to do, I think that, like I told Pamela, I want to come out blazing with all this proof so that no one has I mean, people can say whatever they want. People worship these people. I've exposed so much stuff on so many people, and people still flock to them. David's always going to have his following. Like we said, we're not here to try to destroy it, but we're going to get this kind of stuff out there. We're just going to do our best to be able to bring it, but I wanted her to really show some of the abusive bullshit that she had to deal with and that has carried forward in time, regardless of how long ago this was. These things, words have power. They transcend time in a lot of ways, and traumas need to be released, and healing needs to happen. And you've said it beautifully, and I'll repeat it once again. The only way that we're going to heal is by coming forward and not being afraid to speak out against abusers or against the abuse, or to talk about our trauma. And then others, I've already had so many people in the comments that connect to your story. A lot of people have been through similar things in relationships, been with people that are this kind of controlling way, and they resonate. And by you speaking out and having the courage, so God bless you and thank you, Pamela, more people can heal from their own traumas and feel like other people understand what they've been through. So thank
Yes.
you.
Oh, reciprocal, reflecting in kind. And one other thing about the time thing, when anyone if anyone tells you that, hey, that happened so long ago, it doesn't matter. The point is, so long ago, you didn't have the courage to do anything about it. You could wait 20 years. When you do something about it, do it. It's okay. Forget time. It happened and it affected you to this very day. That's when you speak up. You've got the courage now to do it. I didn't back then, but I do now.
Absolutely. And I got one more question, and then let's close out. This comes from my partner in crime in the Digital Dojo Variety Show, Yo Bro, and we've done other productions as well. I love Biscuits. He's the man.
Yeah.
He's asking, Pam, did David ever tell you that certain acquaintances or associates were handlers slash assets for various organizations?
The only thing I'll say this, which is I don't know, but he used to plant in my brain, your first husband, Randy, is your handler.
Right. He used that a lot with Randy's connections into Hollywood, and we went through it on earlier on in this podcast about how he literally connected you into Ted Gunderson, Sue Ford, Kathy O'Brien, and these kinds of things, and that itself is traumatizing. Whether or not I see on a surface, like I told you, of why he would make some of those thoughts in his brain. But the fact that he put you through that and then literally had you writing out and trying to find these memories that didn't exist, that happens. And I'm a psychology major, not that it means a whole lot in this world, but you can actually implant memories, and that's a thing too in trauma-based mind controls. Implant memories, and so what is amazing and testimony to your strength is that you didn't just create fake memories that he wanted to hear and then live that out. So, a way to stand in your truth and be open to it, because you were in a relationship that's a partnership, and you came to the middle of a crazy scenario that you should have never even asked to be part of, and you still stood in your truth by not allowing fake memories to come in and be implanted and then take over the rest of your life, which could have caused further trauma. So that shows
Exactly.
strength. That
Thank you
shows
so
strength.
much. Thank you so much. One thing I'll share before we go, during all this time, one time I walked into the office. For whatever reason, it just came into my mind. I walked into the office because of the abuse. I walked into the office and I look up at David and I said, "You have me in, you, you, you have me, you have me in a box in your mind, and I will not stay there." Because his view of me was perception, but I was changed. I was like, I'm not that. But he was trying to keep me there.
Right.
You have me in a box
Right.
in your mind, and I will not stay there, David.
Absolutely.
No.
You were growing through this whole process. You weren't a Stepford wife, and you weren't going to be mind controlled or told any of these horrendous things that he tried to put on you and cast onto you in a lot of ways. And you stood in your truth, and here you are. And it's been an honor to bring you on, and this is just the introduction of the Hidden Door series. We'll do some more, Pamela, and we'll talk about some other things. This is the tough one, and you did really well, and we got it out of the way. And we thank you all for being here. And Karen loves that quote. I hope you all got a lot out of this, and share this around. Let everybody
Thank
know.
you so much. Oh my gosh.
Pamela has spoken. I'll give you the floor a little bit. You just want to say goodbye and whatever you'd like to say in final, and then we'll close up.
What, me?
Yeah, go
Oh,
ahead and just say whatever you'd like to say in closing.
I thought you were talking to the audience. Just kidding.
Well, yeah, I'm also highlighting the audience because a lot of people are really just stoked, Pamela.
Oh, really? I can't read the audience chat, so I'm so sorry, guys. But
You'll
thank
get
you.
it
Yeah.
on the replay because I'm sharing stuff on the screen. They love you.
I love you too. Thank you so much for hearing me. Oh my God, this is so amazing. I'm being heard. Oh, finally, after 20 years, I'm being heard. Oh my God, this is so cool. Oh, oh, I could cry.
You did great, Pamela. And we got more to come. Thank you for being here with me and allowing me to offer you this platform to speak your truth.
Thank you. I adore you all. Thank you so much. We're in this together. And I used to say, I'll close with this. I used to say, the greatest thing that David could do, I was envisioned, I said, what the greatest thing David could do was meet me on stage in public. The healing that would begin, one more hug, one more time in public. Can you imagine the healing that would have upon the many? It's like, if they can do it, we could do it. Come on, let's get along, guys. Can we just get along?
Absolutely. I think that's a great way to end it. Thank you all for being here. Look forward to more to come. Thank you again, Pamela. God bless
Thank
you
you.
all, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.
Peace.